If you've been helping your student look for scholarships, chances are you've heard of fastweb.com, or maybe a counselor talked about this site. It's one of the most popular search platforms out there. In fact, it's been around for 30 years, but is it actually worth yours and your students' time? So today I want to share my honest review of Fastweb, how it works, what's great about it, what to watch for, and how you and your student can effectively use this site, but also other sources to find legitimate scholarships. Now make sure you hit subscribe, because every week we have a new strategy for your family to work towards a debt-free degree. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System, where we help families overwhelmed by the cost of college secure scholarships to pay for it so their student can graduate with as little debt as possible. Now, we've helped families secure well over $16 million in scholarships to date, and that's not including all the savings they've had where they pay interest. Our bread and butter is scholarships, finding them, knowing which ones are legitimate, and most importantly, increasing our chances of winning them. So I'm excited about today's video. Now, just a quick note, all of our content is focused on US citizens and permanent residents. We're not familiar with the process for international students. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's start off with what is Fastweb. So Fastweb is a free online scholarship database that matches students or their parents, if they're helping search, with scholarship opportunities based on their profile. So when your student signs up and they create an account and fill in the information about themselves, including maybe their background, age, major, GPA, extracurriculars, interests, all of those help Fastweb generate a personalized list of scholarships that might fit your student. So, and remember, when we're talking about scholarships, we're talking about debt-free money that does not have to be paid back in the end. So this is like a matchmaking service for scholarships. So for parents, this can mean it can save a lot of time if you're helping find scholarships for your student. You can go in and fill in the profile and filter through it using our scam finding tips. I'll cover that more in a bit. But that way you're not having to comb through hundreds and hundreds of sites to find this exact list. Now, I do want to say that we have very specific tactics on finding legitimate scholarships that have less competition. And so I do have a free webinar for you on that, where we talk about sources outside of Fastweb. So if you want to check that out, I really recommend it. Go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar. Now, what's great about Fastweb is there's a reason it's been around for decades, right? It works well when used correctly and when you know its limitations. So some of the biggest pros is it is a huge database. They list thousands of scholarships, including national ones and local ones. So they do have a lot of scholarships on there because people know to try to list there. Another pro is that if we filter for the right settings, they can personalize matches. Once your student has that updated profile, they can automatically make adjustments to the list too. Another benefit is that it's free to use. So there's no cost to sign up. You can apply for any of the scholarships through the platform. So this is a huge pro for families, of course. And there's also features that enable reminders for deadlines. So this is great. Email alerts to keep students and parents on track. So this is very important, especially, for example, through the scholarship system. We've helped families find tons of scholarships. And if they forget the deadlines, then it's just a waste of effort, right? So many families love that Fastweb makes it easy to keep everything in one place. It's a single dashboard for scholarship opportunities, deadlines, for progress that they've made, and of course for the fact that it's free. Now let's get into the honest side of the review. So, and all of that was honest, but I mean the downside of it. So on the other side, I will say Fastweb is legitimate, but it's not perfect, okay? One of my biggest issues, and this is from my own experience well over a decade ago, is you get flooded with emails. So one of the tips that we share in that webinar and in our course of the scholarship system is to set up a separate email address for this. That way we're not completely flooded and our inbox is not destroyed by Fastweb. The second thing is that not all scholarships are unique or necessarily less competition. In fact, actually, there's probably more competition because most people are going to go to Fastweb and just do the easy ones. But also, you're going to find duplicates from other websites. So it's not like if it's on Fastweb, it's uniquely on Fastweb. Another con is that it requires filtering because the database is so large. Not every scholarship match that even they think is a match is going to be relevant. So in reality, even though we're narrowing our focus with the search criteria, it still takes sifting. It still takes work. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in the grand scheme of things with the scholarship process, but with a site that we want to streamline, it's a con. And another con, and this is the most important, is that you will find sweepstakes or enter to win drawings, fast, easy scholarships. So I will link to my training on how to spot the scams. I go in more depth on that in the webinar. Again, you can register at thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar. I'll cover where we go instead of Fastweb and how to spot those scams. I give you some examples. So I really recommend that webinar. But we don't want to waste time on ones that are based on luck. So we want your student focusing on ones that they can actually win. And that means that they have to submit some kind of materials so that they can prove they're worth giving money to. If it's just based on luck, it's not worth our time, right? So Fastweb has legitimate options on there, but we do have to sift again, like I was saying. So really with Fastweb, the best results will come from being selective, being persistent, checking it now and then. But really the way to use Fastweb to reach scholarship success, in my opinion, is to combine it with a lot of other sources that we cover in that free webinar that I mentioned. And by the way, all the resources that I'm mentioning are free and they're in the description below. We'll link to them. So I wouldn't say I'm for or against Fastweb. I think that their mission is fantastic. It's our mission, right? How do we get as many scholarships in students' hands as possible? The thing is, they've got to make money, right? And so getting your email, sending those emails, they can market them, they can spend money on them, marketers can pay them to email you and your student. And also those sweepstake ones, they get kickbacks for a lot of those. So that's their monetization strategy there. So how do we use Fastweb effectively though? So for parents, if you're helping your student, you can help them. We love when parents help them find scholarships because you will be an extra layer of deciphering, is it legitimate, is it not? And so you can start with a strong profile, try to think of as many details as possible with your student. Maybe you can let them take the first crack at it, and then you can go in and add some stuff to it, but encouraging your student to complete every section possible and thoroughly. That way we can increase their options for scholarship dollars and increase the chances that the matches actually match. It also might give ideas for you and your student on how to use our methods when you start seeing some of the criteria that you're thinking of putting in that profile. So perhaps write it down, put it in a Google Doc, and you can come back to it with some of our other strategies we talk about in that webinar. The other thing I would say for using Fastweb is just to check it here and there. So don't just do it once and then don't go back. However, I would prioritize our other search methods covered in that webinar first and then use Fastweb last. But still, once we're at the Fastweb level, once we've exhausted all the other strategies and options and we're finally ready to look at Fastweb, we can check back maybe once a month or every other week if we want, just to see if there's any new scholarships. And I do want to say, so through the scholarship system, we give out scholarships. We've given out scholarships for over a decade now, which is so incredible. And I love doing it. One year we actually reached out to Fastweb to submit it. And it was, I think, like a $500 or $600 fee. Well, we only give out $500 or $600 scholarships, and we try to give them to as many students as possible. So had I done that, I would have had to remove one of my awards. And so we didn't do it. So this is where there are a lot of scholarships out there that are not listed on Fastweb. And that is what I mean by using our other search methods to find the ones that aren't even on there, and naturally less competitive. Then the last piece of using it is using filters. So you can filter for dollar amounts, deadlines, categories that are more realistic. Don't rule out low dollar. They're going to be less competitive. So push your student to apply even if it's only $500 or $600 because those are going to be less competitive because other students are going to say, oh, that's not worth our time. We don't want to do that. And then always, always, always pair Fastweb again with our other sources. So I cover more in that webinar. I also have a video we'll link to for the best scholarship websites that we re-record each year so that you have the latest and greatest list. So you can click on that video here, or you can find the link in the description again to all the free resources and tools I mentioned, including that free webinar. So is Fastweb worth it? You know, it can be, definitely. I just would not solely rely on it at this point, right? And I would definitely make a unique email for the process so that way we can filter and keep it separate from our normal inbox. That way we're not getting spammed and ruining our inbox with a bunch of junk. Now, comment below, did your student find a scholarship through Fastweb that they won? I would love to hear it. And if you find one in the future that your student wins, come back and comment and let us know. So parents, if you and your student have not tapped into Fastweb yet, it could be a great opportunity for your family. I would highly recommend doing that free webinar first, tapping into all of those search strategies, and then going to Fastweb if that's what you choose for your family. It's free. It does have legitimate options on there, and it is a huge database. So lots of pros. We just need to make sure that we're watching out for the spam, the scams, following all the tips that I shared in today's video on how to maximize it without getting kind of the bad side of it. All right, so there you have it, my honest review on Fastweb, the pros and the cons and how to make the most of it. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love a thumbs up, and make sure you hit subscribe because every week we have a new strategy to help your family work towards that debt-free degree. And by the way, it helps not only high school students, but also families with college students. All right, I'll see you in the next video.